Evelyn had investigated dozens of murders in her career, but nothing prepared her for the case that locals whispered about with trembling voices. The skin collector. The killer left no fingerprints, no footprints, no DNA. Only a single thing at every crime scene. A strange patch of human skin, stretched and framed like a piece of artwork. The first victim was found hanging from an abandoned barn rafter, his body untouched except for one horrifying detail. His entire back was missing. Clean, smooth, surgically removed. The air inside the barn felt wrong, heavy with the kind of silence that presses against your ears. Evelyn swept her flashlight across the wooden walls and froze. Hanging on rusty nails were thin sheets, dozens of them, each labeled with dates. Each one a different shade, texture, age. It wasn't random. It wasn't rage. It was collection. A cold shiver crawled down her spine as she realized something else. Every sheet of preserved skin had a small symbol carved into the corner. A spiraling circle. Exactly the same symbol that had been etched into the victim's remaining flesh. This wasn't a murder scene. It was a gallery made from people. And from somewhere deep inside the barn, Evelyn swore she heard breathing. Evelyn backed out of the barn slowly, her hand hovering over her gun. The breathing had stopped the moment she moved, as if whatever was hiding inside sensed her fear. Outside, the sheriff and forensic team were waiting, but when she tried to explain what she had seen, the words refused to form. How could she describe a wall lined with preserved human skin without sounding insane? The sheriff, a heavy man with tired eyes, placed a hand on her shoulder. "Evelyn, you're shaking." She didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the barn door. She couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was still watching her from the darkness inside. That night, she studied the spiral symbol found carved on the victim and the skins. It matched an old cult known as the Spiral Circle, a group believed to have died out decades ago. They were rumored to believe that human skin held memories, and the purest memories were taken only at the moment of death. Evelyn wanted to dismiss the myth, but the killer wasn't leaving art. He was leaving a message, and he wanted her to see it. The second body appeared 3 days later, displayed on a wooden bench in a children's playground. No blood, no signs of struggle, just another piece missing, this time the skin from both arms, removed with disturbing precision. Parents screamed, children cried, and officers taped off the area within minutes. But Evelyn noticed something no one else did. The spiral symbol here was different. Instead of a single circle, it had 2 overlapping spirals, almost like the killer was evolving or communicating. On the bench beside the victim was a small Polaroid picture. Evelyn picked it up carefully. It was a photo of the victim taken hours before his death. But the angle was wrong. It was taken from above, as if the killer had been watching the man from some hidden height. A message was scribbled on the back of the photo. "The memory lives beautifully in the skin." Evelyn's stomach twisted. The collector wasn't just killing for ritual. He was admiring his work. Evelyn spent the next nights unable to sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the gallery of skins, the spirals, the Polaroid. She started mapping the crime scenes on her wall and realized something horrifying. Each spot formed a line, a curved line, almost like the start of a larger spiral. The killer was drawing something across the entire town. At dawn, she received a call. Another body. This one was different. The victim was alive, barely. His skin was untouched, but his back was carved with the symbol. When Evelyn leaned closer, he whispered one word before dying. "Collector." It wasn't the killer's nickname. Sounded more like a title. The discovery changed everything. If Collector was a title, then he wasn't working alone. Evelyn dug into old records, tracing the cult's history, and found references to a ritual known as the Harvest of Memory. It required 10 pieces of skin from 10 different victims, each marked with an evolving spiral. Once completed, the cult believed it would awaken the vessel, a chosen member who would inherit the memories and lives of all victims. Evelyn felt sick. The killer wasn't collecting artwork. He was building a new identity. And with 4 victims already found, he was nearly halfway there. As she closed the file, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. A distorted voice spoke. 5 down, 5 to go. I hope you're watching, Evelyn. Evelyn immediately began scanning the town for any pattern the killer might be following. She noticed something alarming. Each victim lived closer and closer to the town center, as if the collector was spiraling inward toward a final destination. That night, she walked through the empty streets, feeling the quiet suffocating her. Every window looked like an eye watching her. Every alley whispered her name. Suddenly, she found a symbol carved into the sidewalk. Fresh, the edges still rough. It wasn't the usual spiral. This one had 3 layers, forming a shape that looked almost like an eye. Evelyn knelt to study it, her heartbeat pounding. Someone stepped behind her. She spun around. No one. But the air carried a message, silent yet unmistakable. He was getting closer. At dawn, Evelyn received another message, this time a video. It showed a dimly lit room, walls covered in the same spirals she'd seen before. In the center sat the next victim, tied to a chair, trembling. The camera slowly zoomed in on his skin, almost lovingly, as if the collector was admiring it. Then a gloved hand appeared, gently touching the victim's shoulder. The collector spoke softly, almost tenderly. Evelyn, this one is special. His memories will be beautiful. Before the video ended, the camera tilted, revealing something behind the victim. A large canvas made of stitched human skin, and Evelyn's name carved across it. Evelyn felt the ground tilt beneath her. Why her? What did he want? She replayed the video again and again, analyzing shadows, angles, the faint sounds in the background. Then she caught something, barely audible but real. A church bell. Not digital. Old. There was only one church in town with a bell that still worked. She drove there immediately. The church was silent, its doors open just a crack. Inside, candles burned in a pattern on the floor, forming a massive spiral. At the center of the spiral lay the victim from the video, still alive but unconscious. And on the altar, a note with one sentence, "You are the final piece." Evelyn lifted her gun, moving cautiously toward the altar. The church felt alive, every shadow shifting like a living thing. She checked the victim, pulse weak but steady. She called for backup, but the line went dead the moment she spoke. A chill swept through the air. Slow footsteps echoed from the upper balcony. Evelyn pointed her flashlight upward. There he stood, the collector, wearing a mask made from overlapping pieces of skin. The spirals were carved into the mask, swirling across his face like living symbols. He spoke calmly. "You've been following my memories, Evelyn. Now it's time to join them." He stepped down the stairs slowly, deliberately, like he was savoring the moment. Evelyn fired. The gunshot exploded through the church, but the collector moved unnaturally fast, slipping into the shadows like smoke. She turned, searching, but he was already behind her. She felt his hand on her shoulder, cold, steady, deliberate. "Your skin," he whispered, "holds everything I need." She slammed her elbow into him and stumbled forward, grabbing the victim and dragging him toward the exit. The collector lunged, but the candles toppled, flames racing across the floor along the spiral pattern. The fire spread fast, too fast. The collector stepped back, staring at the flames as if betrayed by them. Evelyn escaped with the victim just as the church collapsed in a storm of fire and smoke. No body was found, only a single piece of skin nailed to a charred beam, carved with a new message. "This is not the end."